meditating on emotions. So finding a comfortable place or space where you'll be free from interruptions, and you can give yourself this time to, I suppose, tune out from the busyness of the day and the evening, and perhaps tune into your inner world, the inner world of your emotions. So noticing your posture, settling yourself if you're sitting upright, just to ensure that your head is supported in a way that's fitting for it, middle of your shoulders, that your back is straight, your neck long, your hands comfortable on your lap, either down on your thighs or open, your feet flat on the floor. And just begin to bring the attention into the body itself, just noticing how the body is in this particular moment. So noticing with a quick scan of the body how it is. Is it warm or cool? Is it what you'd call comfortable or relaxed? Is there sleepiness there? Or are you alert? And remembering that what we're looking for is a relaxed alertness. So sensing what's present. Any pains or aches? Do you need to do any other little thing to help yourself to be still? Just to encourage that stillness in the body, remembering that stillness in the body allows stillness in the mind to follow, and then indeed stillness in the emotions. And it can take a little while to transition from our doing mode to our being mode. And that transitioning can sometimes be the hardest part of our practice. And that transition comes in these first 5 minutes or 10 minutes maybe, as we allow ourselves to switch modes, to become still, to turn our attention inwards, and to let go the need to do or be anything or anywhere else. So allowing maybe a softening to come in the body in terms of muscle holding, and having settled the bodies in a way that encourages stillness, then to tune our awareness to the breath pattern, noticing how the breath rises within, and how it takes that pause at the top of the in-breath, and how then the breath flows out, remembering that we're not trying to do the breathing, we're simply becoming the watcher of the breath, allowing the breath to happen. The gentle in-breath, or maybe it's not that gentle for you, but notice the difference between interfering with the breathing and maybe trying to breathe. Once we allow our attention to kind of land on the breath, we can find we're manipulating it a little bit. Just notice the breath beginning within you itself, organically, so to speak, from a position of watching the breath, as if you were outside of yourself. But just allowing the breath then to come and go in its own particular way. it may be short and sure, or short and shaky. It may be deep. Or may not, may be uncomfortable. You may have a stuffy nose that makes it hard to breathe. Just notice what's there and allow the breath to flow best it can without interfering in it. You've been breathing all day and all every day. The only difference in this is we're bringing our focus of attention to how we're breathing. That's all. We breathe. And remembering, if we find ourselves struggling in any way, we can always activate what we call the soothing breathing rhythm, which does manipulate the breath in a certain way by deepening the in-breath ever so slightly. And then as we release the breath to the out-breath, lengthening the out-breath. And in doing this, it helps just to find that soothing breathing rhythm, settles down any upset or anxiety we might be feeling. After a number of rounds, it may take a little bit of time. It actually switches off the fight and flight response. It's the physiological antidote to feeling a bit stressed. The more stressed we are, the more we need to do it. And I encourage you to practice it in a time when you don't feel stressed, so that you'll know how to do it when you do feel stressed, or you'll remember it at least. So gently becoming aware of the in-breath. And when you feel you've come to the top of the in-breath, just deepening it. And then noticing at the very top how the breath falls away, and just allowing the breath to slow and lengthen the out-breath before allowing the next in-breath to begin organically. And once again, slowing that in-breath. And that's what you feel is the top of the in-breath, just to deepen it another little bit. And to let the out-breath go, but not to force it out, actually to slow the out-breath a little bit. And then when you get to what you think is the end of the out-breath, just to lengthen it. And so on. Having taken a couple of these breaths, you might need to just take an ordinary breath in between. See what works for you. You can also use what we call the 7-11 breathing, as in counting for the in-breath, counting to 7, and releasing on the out-breath, counting to 11. But not forcing anything. It may take a while to develop that. Some people like to count, more people like just to focus on the breath and deepen the in-breath, lengthen the out-breath. So at any time during the practice, if you need to revert to the soothing breathing rhythm, feel free. And now the invitation is to bring our attention to our emotional temperature. Just to perhaps notice what's going on in the field of our emotions. What's bubbling. Our emotions present themselves to our awareness within the body. So maybe to notice what's on the surface of the emotions, anything in particular. Can you identify it with a name? Not that that's particularly important, but sometimes it's kind of obvious. I'm feeling sad. Maybe you're simply feeling content. You're feeling fed up, as a lot of us are these days. Just maybe notice what emotions are present, and if there's any what we call afflictive emotion or difficult emotion there, perhaps just to notice that. Might even, if there's no difficult emotion present, you might even just take a bit of time to reflect on what difficult emotion recurs in you that you're aware of at the moment. Like, or maybe over the last week or two. Has there been a bit of anger, sadness, anxiety, whatever? And if there isn't what we call a difficult feeling there within you right now, maybe just pick one that you've been aware of in the last few weeks. And just consider the times that surfaced, or consider now if there's one within you. Maybe how it has surfaced. Were you aware of it earlier on in the day? Has it just presented itself to your awareness right now? Was there any particular trigger? Just remembering maybe when the emotion did present itself, or feeling the particular emotion right now. And I want you to bring your attention into your body and feel where the emotion is speaking to you. Whereabouts in the body can you sense it? Oftentimes we sense our emotions down the center line of the body. Might even be in the head, across the forehead, the back of the head. Often people say to me they feel this emotion maybe in their neck, their chest. Can be a tightness in the chest, so to speak, or a sense of weight on their shoulders. Emotions can present themselves largely around the area of the tummy or the heart. So just maybe tune into your own body and notice, on reflecting about a particular emotion, where you feel that in your body. And simply acknowledge the feelings that are there, the sensations in your body around this emotion or linked to this emotion. Maybe without wanting to get rid of them. Oftentimes when we experience emotions, we actually don't like them, especially if they're difficult, and we just want to get rid of them and we avoid them in some way or other. The invitation is to maybe turn towards, or open a little bit towards what's here. What are you inclined to do? Is your inclination to turn away? Or to not want to experience this? I'm just gently inviting you to simply breathe and notice the feelings around this emotion. Notice if the sensations change as you bring your attention to it. Sometimes it can be helpful to actually imagine you could breathe into it. Or notice if you're breathing, can the breath actually go into the emotion itself, into the place where the emotion is? Maybe it can only go to it and then move around it. Just notice what happens for you without forcing. Nothing may happen. That's okay. Simply play a little bit with this. And if an emotion is very intense, sometimes it's good to practice imagining you could take a step back from the emotion without wanting to shut it down or get rid of it. But simply as if you could step back and kind of look at the emotion as if it were just a little bit in front of you. That there's a little gap between you and the emotion itself, or the feelings around the emotion. That can give you a little bit of space. You're not pushing it away. You're not trying to get rid of it, remembering that emotions simply need to be felt. And once they can be felt or experienced and simply acknowledged, they'll simply pass, like a wave on the ocean, coming and going. You may find yourself drawn into thinking about the emotion, where it came from. Maybe you feel somebody did something that caused you to feel like this, and you're maybe going into the reverie about all of that. I'd encourage you maybe to leave that aside if you can, and simply come back to the actual feeling or the sensations in the body around the emotion itself, rather than the story of the emotion. Simply refrain from judging anything about it. It's simply here. The challenge is to feel it. That's all. And if the feeling becomes too intense, remembering again that you can imagine you could take a step back and imagine your breath coming between you and the emotion itself. Or if your breath can move into the emotion, imagining it, the breath maybe making that feeling or sensation maybe bigger and lighter, the way just as if you were blowing up a balloon. The balloon becomes light and floats away. So the more air and space that's around this emotion perhaps can lighten it or de-intensify the feeling itself. So just practicing that for a while, noticing what's possible for you and remembering, if you can't stay with it, that you can revert to the soothing breathing rhythm for a while and then gently come back. Notice too, if you go into the thoughts about the feelings, what the thoughts are like. Are we naming the feelings as if it's part of me, my anger, my anxiety? And what might it be like to rephrase that a little bit and just say, right now, there is anxiety, or there is anger. Is there a difference in the reaction within yourself when you name it differently? And before we finish, perhaps just acknowledging what has been here for you, what came to your awareness around emotions, and perhaps asking whatever emotion presented itself, even if you don't know what it is, asking what it needs, and just giving a moment to allow maybe an answer to intuitively come. And allowing the answer more to come from a body place rather than from the head, not thinking about anything. There's no pressure on you to have an answer. Or what does this emotion need right now? Just noticing, was this kind of new for you? Was it helpful in any way or not? Or what was important, if anything, that you came in contact with maybe during the meditation? Well, the invitation is to become aware once again of your breath, noticing how it rises and falls within you. The in-breath, the out-breath. Noticing the areas in your body that are affected by the breath. Physically, the rise and fall of the chest or the tummy. The sense of the air in your nostrils. At the back of your throat. And now becoming aware of the whole body being breathed. Right out to your skin. From the top of your head to the soles of your feet. And now the invitation is to become aware of the body once again. Whether you're sitting or lying. Noticing any sensations there. Warmth, or coolness, sleepiness or alertness. And in your own time, coming back more fully into your life. Stretching if you need to. Giving yourself a few moments to adjust as you move from being mode back to doing mode. Thank you for your presence.